Imagine having a perfect career blueprint, a clear path to success. Now, what if someone told you, nope, that doesn't apply to you? Well, that's exactly the story we're getting into today, and it takes us deep inside one of the biggest employers on the planet, Indian Railways. I mean, have you ever stopped to think about who actually runs the world's busiest railways? It's this massive, complex machine that literally moves an entire country. So who are the people making sure every single train gets where it's going safely? And what does it really take to climb the ladder in an organization this huge? We're talking about more than 1 million employees here. I mean, Indian Railways is practically a nation in itself. And just like any nation, it's got its leaders. And on the ground, at the heart of every single station, that leader is the station master. All right, so let's talk about the big goal here. For so many people who join the railways, this is it. This is the peak, becoming a station master. And look, this is way more than just a job. It's a huge deal. It's about responsibility, prestige, and being the ultimate authority at the station. Yeah, think about it like this. They're the air traffic controller, the station manager, and the head safety officer all wrapped up in one person. We're talking about a pay level 6 position, which is a big deal. They're not just watching trains go by, they're the ones making the critical calls that make sure thousands of us get to where we're going safely every single day. So the big question is, how do you actually get that job? Well, if you look at the official rule book, it seems super straightforward. The blueprint lays out 3 very clear, distinct paths to becoming a station master. Okay, so this is the official breakdown. Most of them, a full 60%, are hired directly from the public. But check this out. The other 40% is reserved specifically for people already working there. That gives them a clear path up, either through seniority or by passing an internal exam. Sounds pretty fair, right? So let's dig into that table. You could be a fresh graduate coming in, or maybe you're a longtime employee getting rewarded for your years of service. Or, hey, you could be that ambitious insider who wants to fast-track their career. Looking at it like this, it seems like a perfectly balanced system. On paper, at least. But, and this is a big but, here's where that perfect blueprint crashes into reality. Because for the very people who are supposed to fill that 25% promotion spot, the pointsmen, the story is completely different. These guys are on the absolute front line of railway operations. Yeah, these are the folks out there on the tracks, rain or shine, day or night, making sure every single train passes safely. Their job is incredibly physical, incredibly demanding, and absolutely essential for safety. 12. Think about that number. 12. That's how many hours are in a single shift for a lot of pointsmen. I mean, we live in an age where an 8-hour day is the norm, and these critical safety workers are out there on the tracks for 12 hours straight. Sometimes that adds up to a 72-hour work week. Just imagine. And what are they doing during that 12-hour shift? It's brutal, high-risk, manual work. We're talking about physically coupling together train cars that weigh tons, manually cranking the track points to switch the rails, and standing right next to a speeding train to give the all-clear signal. There is absolutely zero room for a mistake. And this quote, this is from the pointsman's own union. It's honestly chilling. It just shows you the life and death reality of their daily job. This isn't just about a career. It's one of the most dangerous jobs on the entire railway. So when you have this kind of high-risk, low-reward situation, it's no surprise that it's led to a serious conflict. For decades now, the pointsmen and their unions have been fighting for what really feels like a basic right, a fair shot at building a career. And this right here, this slide, really gets to the heart of the problem. You see, while other railway workers, like a technician, can expect to get promoted 4 or 5 times in their career, a pointsman, well, they might work for 30 years and get just 1 promotion. Can you believe that? They start at level 1 and most of them retire at level 2. It's basically a career dead end. And look, this is not some new complaint. As you can see from this official letter from the NFIR, one of the biggest railway unions, they've been calling this a grave injustice for more than a decade. And yet, very little has changed. And this quote really sums up how people are feeling. Extremely agitated and frustrated over lack of career growth. I mean, after decades of being stuck, it makes sense that these essential safety workers feel frustrated, undervalued, like their career hits a brick wall almost as soon as it starts. But the unions aren't just complaining, they've actually come up with a solid solution.
They're proposing this four-tier structure. What it does is create a real career ladder. It would mean that a dedicated pointsman could, over time, actually reach pay level 6. That's the same level as the station master. It would finally make that dream a real possibility.
So, when you step back and look at it, what you've really got is a system running on two totally different tracks. On one track, you have the official, clear path to success. And on the other, you have this slow, frustrating, and often dangerous track that so many of these crucial workers are stuck on.
So what are they asking for? Well, their demands, which have been on the table for years, are pretty straightforward. They want safer hours, not these insane 12-hour shifts. They want some kind of allowance for the risk and hardship they face every day. They want a fair pay structure that actually lets them build a career. And, the basics like proper safety gear, a real uniform, and enough staff so they can do their jobs without worrying about accidents.
Which really brings us back to the central question here. For the people who are the absolute backbone of the railways, is that dream of becoming a station master a real, achievable goal like the rule book says it is? Or is it just a nice idea on paper that, in reality, leads to a dead end on the tracks?
Because at the end of the day, this whole story shows us something really simple, right? To keep the trains moving, you have to keep people's careers moving too. The strength of this entire massive system doesn't just depend on the steel rails. It depends on the morale and the future of the workers who walk those rails every single day.